Dari, good afternoon. It's the end of February 2020 and you're looking at Marcus's latest build, and I call it the Craptop. Now I've done a posting already on why I need such a base level, entry level laptop, and it's the following. I do occasionally go out. I need a laptop with me, but I'm somewhat nervous about taking my £2,000 laptop with me for fear of getting stolen. I don't particularly go to risky places, but there's always that kind of annoying feeling that when you're leaving your laptop in the car or you're going to a place you're not too happy with, that something untoward might happen. So the idea is to build this bargain basement laptop, which I feel happy to take anywhere, anytime, and won't be too sorry if something awkward happens to it. My build cost was about £100. I hope at the end of the video to tell you why yours would probably be somewhere closer to 200. So let's start with a practical demonstration. I'm actually in Ubuntu 20.14. I'm running beta software because I found out that I don't know how many years Ubuntu's been going, or Linux in general, but still the driver support is not very good. And in the prior to the 5.4 kernel, believe it or not, the trackpad doesn't work. There are some workarounds which involve you installing a later kernel on an existing Linux distribution and patching it, but and that does work. I've tried it, but obviously I sound a little frustrated. Well, I am. So basically I'm running the latest greatest beta Ubuntu with the latest greatest Linux kernel. Everything works fine, and by that I mean to say that both the trackpad and the Wi-Fi are broken on earlier releases of Linux, so you really will need to go to this absolutely bleeding edge, slightly beta version of Linux to get everything working on this particular cheapo laptop. But having said that, with the 4 GB of memory that's installed, everything works just fine. You can see that I'm running performance monitor. I've got a shell open. I can start a Firefox browser or a Chrome browser. There's Chrome, it's already loaded. Things are a little sluggish, but I keep telling myself this cost me £100, and what are you going to expect? So everything works. At the moment I've got syncing to my normal user ID, but in the future I'm going to disable that and take off any kind of personal information. Like I say, this is to be a laptop which I can take to a cafe, I can leave in a car and have no worry about its theft leading to a bleeding of any personal information that I might not want to get to lose. So that would include my Gmail and Chrome user IDs. So I'll probably create a away from home Chrome user ID, a completely separate user ID. So here we are, that's running Chrome. You'll see everything's quite normal. Took me a while to get back used to the Ubuntu interface. As you're all probably aware, under Linux there's a sort of fight going on between all the different visual interfaces that you could use, and every distribution has their own kind of flavour. Some distributions have more than one flavour. If you download Linux Mint, for example, you've got the choice of 3 different user interfaces to use. Anyway, we'll come out of this. We will attempt to reboot, and let's look at the BIOS next. So basically Linux works fine. I think on a day-to-day basis I'd probably use Linux as my operating system. With the latest build everything works great. Let's just reboot. So we're going to restart. Now you should be able to go into the BIOS by pressing the escape key. I'm waiting for that to happen. Still hasn't happened. £100 laptop. Stay calm. Dum-de-dum. There we go. Okay, I'm in the BIOS. So it's very nice. It's got a GUI BIOS. Most of my other computers, including my £2,000 Hewlett-Packard laptop, have got a character-based BIOS. This does have a GUI BIOS of sorts, so you can see, I can go into Boot Manager. You see I've got, at the top there I've got the Ubuntu boot, which is a Grubber-based boot, and below that you've got the Windows Boot Manager boot. There's a setup utility here. Oh, the password has actually worked. Brilliant. This hadn't worked before, and now it has worked. So that's good news. I'm just have to blank that out. So we're into the main BIOS. You can see we're running an Atom processor, an E8000 processor, which I'd never heard before. It can get up to 2 GHz clock. We've got 4 GB of memory, and we've also got a eMMC module 64 GB disk. Now, I thought the thing that would improve the speed of this laptop more than anything else would be to get a faster disk, and I'll show you at the end of this video, when we shut the thing down, how you can do that. So overall, it's not a bad spec bad spec laptop. It's got a nice GUI BIOS. I think if we can get out of this, our next foray will be into Windows. That's the plan. So let's do a continue on here. So in the Grub bootloader there, so now we'll select Windows. So just give you an indication of how long it takes to boot the system. This is a very low power laptop with a large battery. So I've been running it for a couple of days now, just on one charge. So there's Windows booted. It really is quite quick to boot, but obviously you'd normally suspend it or hibernate it, so you wouldn't normally even have such a wait in front of you. So let's just do the old top secret login. We're in. In fact, it's picked up from where it was last left off. So I can just go through things that I'm looking at some drives, for example. So yeah, it works fine as a Windows laptop. It's 64-bit, of course. I happen to have enterprise licenses, so I'm actually running Windows 10 Enterprise as the load, and you can join the Insider program if you'd like to. So that's the laptop in a sense. Very pleased with it. The screen resolution is only 1366 by 768, so it's not full HD resolution. Everything works as I expect it to work. The next thing we're going to do is shut the baby down, and we're going to look at the ports, the physical laptop itself. Okay, shut down. So, the key thing on this laptop, if you notice on the back, there's a very large hatch here, and that large hatch can take a 2.5-inch SATA drive. What I've actually done is I've bought an M2 drive, SATA format, and mounted it on an M2 to SATA converter. So instead of the standard M2 Type B interface, it's now got a standard SATA hard drive interface, and that just slots in there. The other thing this laptop has got is, see that? It's actually got a micro SD card reader. It's got a headphone jack, and it's got a full-size USB port here. 2 speakers on the back. They're a bit tinny, but they do work. And finally, on this side, we've got a DC power jack, a USB-C port. Sorry, a USB 3 port. It's not Type C, it's Type A, USB 3 standard, and a micro HDMI connector, mini HDMI connector. So let's revisit the whole situation. This is a laptop which I feel safe to take anywhere. It's a very low cost laptop. It cost me £100 because I managed to get it at a slight discount. So this laptop on Amazon is about 100 and something pounds, maybe £160, something like that, between 160 and £200. I then spent a further £30 on the M2 hard drive. So for me, the total cost was £60 plus £30 plus a bit of postage. So it's about £100. And for that, I've got a fully working Windows laptop, Linux Ubuntu laptop, 4GB of memory, a quad-core processor, running Windows 10 Enterprise, Ubuntu 20, and a decent array of ports, and absolutely excellent battery life. The adapter is here. It's pretty small. It doesn't use USB-C charging, and you may recall from other issues I've had, one of the other reasons why I'm a bit annoyed with my HP £2,000 laptop is that it broke down and had to spend £300 repairing it via HP because it was just out of the 2-year warranty. So yes, this alternatively is a £100 laptop. It's a little sluggish, have to be said. Some performance tuning might need to be done with Linux. I'm hoping I can slightly G it up a bit. But basically, very, very happy. I think you should all get one if you're as paranoid about security and theft as I am. Thanks for watching, Darry.